Welcome to the Opinionated Aussies.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Opinionated Aussies podcast. Jeez, it's different me doing the intro, isn't it? Today, we've got Aden on, as usual.
How you going, guys?
And we've got a long friend of ours, Trent, here.
Yeah, g'day. Great to be here.
How was everyone's week?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Very busy, but quite good, I must say.
Oh, good stuff. How are you, Trent? How's your week?
Busy with work, but yeah, not too bad. Just been following a lot of the football and looking forward to the finals, actually. Yeah.
Well, there we go. We got another football episode. Who would have thunk it, hey?
Bloody hell.
Yeah, right. So, how we want to do this, Aden? Do you want to recap last week's, or do you want to go into finals?
So, I think we should probably let the people know that we're recording this on Saturday afternoon. Just because results might differ from predictions we make. So, just so you guys know, it's not getting recorded day of. It's getting recorded a couple of days prior to uploading. So, if we say that, we think the Dragons will towel up the Broncos tonight, that doesn't mean that they're playing again on Monday. We're just recording this a couple of days prior.
Yeah, copy that. Well, Dragons and Broncos. That's going to be the game of the round, I think.
Well, yeah, I'd say so.
Well, if the Broncos want to make the 8, they've got to make a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very strong impression on the Dragons to knock the Raiders out, providing the Raiders lose.
Yep.
So
I got the points differential here.
So what are we at? Broncos are 9th at minus 26 and Raiders are 8th at plus 17, both on 28 competition points. So essentially, the
Broncos win big.
Yes, they've what's at. Let's see.
40,
so Broncos
43-point difference, I think.
Yeah. So the Broncos, you have to assume, just to make it, I guess, convincing, the Broncos got to win by 50.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And then the Raiders would have to win by something like 6 points for the Broncos to make it.
Yeah. Well, that's different.
Yeah. Everything's going against the Broncos, I tell you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was talking to my barber this morning, about the Tyson Gamble situation.
Yeah.
Honestly, the media just blew that out of the proportion. Hey, they really did. Like, I personally don't think what Tyson Gamble said was detrimental, or it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't.
I do tend to agree, but at this stage of the season, you do kind of have to watch out what you say, especially on like a public forum, like a podcast.
Oh, yeah, I do understand that, but he sort of, and in a quote, he said, Kevin Walters played a different game of football back then. We sort of lean more towards Renault as our not our coach, but as a playmaker. They lead to Renault for ideas on during training sessions and stuff. So the 3/4 of the reason why they bought Adam Reynolds to the Broncos was for that reason.
Yeah, no, that's right.
So I don't think what he said was in a bad light at all. He wasn't saying Kevin Walters is a bad coach, or there was no malice in it, but he was just saying we play a different style of footy than what Kevy did. So it's like not teaching an old dog new tricks, but he is he is an older coach, so you need to show him the tricks that worked in today's game rather that worked back when Kevy was playing.
Is this coming from the blow up?
Coming from after that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Look, I don't think Kevin Walters goes off very often, and he probably does it once every few months. And you know what I mean? I think losing by what it's been. I don't know the exact figure, but what is 110 points in both games. You know, 50 plus points in both games. You know, I think it's warranted that you want to get an emotional response, and obviously,
well, you know, that's fair enough too. You look at Craig Bellamy, or you know, Bellyache, as a lot of people call him. He'll blow up at the fucking Melbourne Storm would used to be on a winning streak. They used to, you know, put 40 points on the opposition, but he would still find the smallest thing to blow up at. And you could see him tear strips off his players. Now, they're still winning. They're still getting the 2 points. Is that warranted?
Different styles. Wayne Bennett doesn't go off. He just makes big decisions. He just has conviction. Wayne Bennett doesn't go off. But like, I just think, that's Craig Bellamy's style. But I just think Walters just, you know, it's about finals. You know, Broncos really could have made the 8 by now, and they haven't, and he's disappointed and he's upset. You know.
Yeah, 100%. I do think that is warranted. You know, they went from a top 4 spot, they were sitting in top 4, to now being in 9th position. Like, it comes down to the coach to a degree. Yes, the coach isn't on the field playing the football. You know, yes, they've had adversities to overcome, just so like it. You know, any team has.
What did Campbell say? But again, like I'm just looking up. Like, I know he said something about the cut. Yeah.
Yeah, he said, you know, the way Kevin coaches wants us to play the old school style of football, which doesn't work in today's game, because they're two completely different styles of football. You know, yes, you could have your old school ways of things that happen. You know, like anything. You know, there's no better school than the old school type of way, but that was, you know, 20 years ago. We're not in that era anymore.
Game's a little bit. It's more faster.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a bit more dynamic. Yeah, not as forward. Like, I think one of the State of Origins and one of the previous games, I think you and Aden said one of the games was like an old game, which is running foot. But it's just
was that the first game of Origin, Aid?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
It was that old school first, second, third tackle. Give it to the forwards. Yeah. Let them hit it up, and then try and spread it on your 4th and 5th play.
Yeah. And now they're using different shapes. You know what I mean? Like a lot more tactical shapes and just pace and You know, speed and fitness have become so detrimental, I guess, in today's game. It really has. Yeah.
And that goes down to the way our games are played. You know, the players need to adapt to today's rules and how the game is being played. You know, you wouldn't put Lottie Takiri or Shane Webke or any of those other sort of big boppers. You know, Lottie Takiri was a big man, but he was that's right. Yeah, out on the wing, sort of like a Mike Acevo type of winger. But you know, you wouldn't put Corey Parker, for instance, or Webke or any players like that in today's game. Even back in their heyday, I don't think they could have acted with the fitness and the speed of today's football.
Yeah, I guess they would have different training methods to be with that, but it's totally.
Yeah, that's right.
Changing, yeah.
So if you go into the draw and we'll go Thursday's game.
Yeah, sure. I'll just go into it now.
So who played on Thursday? Eels and Storm. Aden, what did you make of that game?
Well, to be fair, I didn't watch this game because I was on earlies. I do earlies every Friday, so unless it's the Rabbitohs, I don't stay up. So I watched highlights and stuff, and I thought the Eels, like from what I saw, were for the most part the better team. Like they scored the first 3 tries. You know, I think they were up 20-0 or something at one point, and then. At that stage, I thought, you know, they've done really well. Like, they're probably going to run away with this game. But I think one of the biggest issues with the Eels, and we've seen it all year, is that they slack off. when they've got a big lead, and we saw Storm hit back with 3 tries in 14 minutes, 2 of which came in the 76th and 78th minute, and they came back. So I think Eels looked amazing in the first half. They looked brilliant, or for the first 60 minutes, looked brilliant. But yeah, they just Storm came back, and the Eels they just when they've got those leads, they just need to run away with it, put their foot down, and close the games out.
Yeah, that's right. I remember, I think I watched up until about the 65th minute or so, and then I fell asleep. So, it was a good game. I was just super tired. So, I for the most part of the game, I did watch, the Eels, they played well. But I guess my biggest takeaway for the Eels this season is that they're very hot and cold. They win games they shouldn't be winning, or statistically shouldn't be winning, but they lose games that you'd think are pushover games for them. So when it comes to finals time, they need to, I guess, find that extra gear and need to play for a full 80 minutes, not 60 minutes.
Yeah, they're a team with great potential. It's just, I always thought in the last 2-3 years, it's just about them beating the topper teams. Your Storm, your Roosters, your Panthers. You know what I mean? Because they've been playing. They've got a team that has really could go far. It's just about putting it all together at the right time. And that's a good win. Yeah, and they're doing well. But see, you just got to take it game by game.
Yeah. Well, that's right. Brad Arthur is, I do think the Eels have the potential to win the comp. I really do.
They do. On their day, yeah. Yeah,
on their day, that's the thing. They've just got to turn up and get off the bus. Some games, they don't do that.
Yep.
So, it does go, I guess, either way. Nonetheless, though, they were the only team to beat the Eels in the Storm earlier in the season.
And Panthers, yeah. They beat Panthers twice this season, yeah.
Yeah, Panthers and Storm.
Yeah.
The Eels were the only ones to beat them before that Storm went on that bit of a losing streak.
They lost to the Tigers.
Yeah. So you're like, what the hell's going on here? So there's a bit hit and miss. Like I sort of said to my barber this morning, I was like, I'm a bit, heartfelt for the Storm. They've had 15 odd injuries or something this season. It's unreal. And he goes, yeah, but Storm will always. This is the first time since 2013 that the Storm have not been in the top 4. And I sort of looked at it and I'm like, yeah, that's fair enough. But the way I think of it now is, not my hatred towards the Storm, but my hatred towards the Storm is not there because the big 3 aren't there. Cameron Smith, Billy Slater, Cooper Cronk. They're not there, and that's why I never backed the Storm, was mainly because of Cameron Smith. I couldn't stand him.
Yeah, love him for Queensland, Australia, but for Melbourne Storm,
yeah,
he just has complete control over the game, and he's just so good. But he's just so, he just has complete control over the game. Just way it dictates, and you could say referee, but he knows how to talk, all that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure even the refs said that, some of the players come up and they're, with their attitude, they're very rah, 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 where Cameron Smith would talk to you like he's talking to you, on a Sunday breakfast. Talk to you like a person, which, good on him for doing that. That's what the referees need. And, me and Aden sort of covered that last week in the podcast, the way we treat referees. So that was good. What was the next game? What was first game on Friday?
Before we go on to the next one, I just want to talk a little bit more on the Eels in terms of the games they've sort of, they had good leads and they let it slip. Like, from some games I've done a bit of research in, and these are against like bottom seed teams. So the Eels played the Tigers earlier this season. They were up 28-12 with 10 minutes to go. They won 28-20. They were up against the Warriors in round 18. They were leading 28-6. At the 74th minute, they won 28-18. Like, it's just these games that these games they're absolutely killing their opponents, and they just let them come back. Like, that's the part. I don't think they can win a comp if they're going to play like that. If they take that into a finals type arena, they're not going to win. I'm telling you that right now. The Panthers, I know they've beaten them twice, and I'd probably nearly suggest they'll beat them again. But if they play like that, Panthers will come back and they'll win, I reckon.
Oh, 100%. And all we got to do is, and I know it pains you to hear it, but all we got to do is look at last year's grand final. Like, I being there and watching that game, it really looked like the Bunnies had control over the game, apart from that intercept try. And then that's when Panthers just put their foot on the throat and just went, righto, come here.
Come on, Jordan. There's no need to bring that up.
Well, I'm not. I know you're not still salty about it, but I know it sort of hurts the heart to hear. But if the Eels and the Panthers went into the grand final and the Eels done that, the Panthers would be relentless.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
That could happen in the 15th, 25th minute or whatever. And if you give, especially the Panthers and the Sharks at the moment, I dare say the Sharks as well, you give them a reason to sniff around, they will find points and put a lot of points on you real quick.
Oh,
Nico Hines, such great form, and he's just doing so well at the Sharks. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, what was the next game? The Bulldogs and Manly. Manly season's done, but geez, the Bulldogs. Like, the Bulldogs. Oh yeah, right. It still would have been even. Both of them missed 2 conversions, which is fair enough. But it was a very wet and horrible game down there at Accor Stadium. So ball control would have been a big issue. And I didn't watch the full game. I watched most of it, I dare say, in bits and pieces. I probably watched the last 10 minutes, like straight up, because it was a very, very tight game. Then it was like 16-0, and then went to 16-all, then went to like 20-all, and then I was like, oh shit, right, we got a tight game on our hands. And then, Matt Burton in the last 2 minutes slots a field goal.
How calm was he though? Like, just, it was crazy.
He's the future of that team. Yeah.
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 We all thought Josh Adokar would have been, but no, I honestly think, in the name of Buyer of the Year, whether it was, Adam Reynolds or Nico Hines, I dare say Nico Hines would be up there, but also Matt Burton, Josh Adokar, Jeremy Marshall-King, and Kyle Flanagan. I think they've all started to gel quite well together, and they're starting to come into some rare form. So, good on them. They've lost their coach. They lost Brett Aden as well. When Trent Barrett left, Brett Aden, I think, had a clause in his contract to say that he would only work for Trent Barrett. So, there was that really, there as well. Yeah. Well, as soon as Trent Barrett left, then Brett Aden left literally that same week. And then he went to the Tigers, and then the Tigers played the Bulldogs that week. So there's a bit how you going, but yeah.
Another thing is, like, I honestly think that while Trent Barrett, in my opinion, wasn't the right man for the job, there was a lot of players that actually signed there because of him. Viliami Kikau was one. He went there predominantly to play under Trent Barrett, but I mean, he's still going to go. But
yeah, same with Appy Coruscant.
Yeah,
was under the impression to play for Trent Barrett as well, and they sort of said to him in a press conference or whatever, are you still going to go? And he goes, yeah, I don't have any plans to backflip on my deal.
No. Appy's West Tigers. I think it might be Reed Marnie.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
But another one, while we're on the topic of coaches, Isaiah Papali'i when he signed with the West Tigers, he went there predominantly to play under Michael Maguire before he got the sack. So it's crazy how many of these players, that they want to go to a club just for that coach.
Yeah, well, that's right. That sort of reminds me of Darius Boyd and what's his name, Dolphins coach?
Wayne Bennett.
Wayne Bennett, yeah. He followed him around, Broncos, then to the Dragons, then back to the Broncos again. So, yeah, it did. I never actually sat there and thought about it, but yeah, it's, it's like, I guess, having a good boss.
Yeah.
At work. It makes it pleasurable to come to work if you've got a good boss, as well as, a good crew or, a good roster in this terms, yeah. But 13,000 people rocked up to that first game on Friday. It was, ground conditions were good and weather's unknown, but it was a very gloomy, wet day, in Sydney. So for 13,000 people to come out for a game that literally doesn't even matter, there's no fighting for spots on there or anything like that. Both of them are in the middle of the ladder. You got 13,000 diehard fans between the Bulldogs and the Sea Eagles. That, to me, is, a good...
good crowd, yeah.
Yeah, good crowd and good, showmanship for the sport, really. I really do like that. Do you reckon that Tommy would have had a bit more of an influence on the Sea Eagles this year, Aden?
I think one of the biggest issues with the Sea Eagles was I just think that, what am I looking for here? The word I'm looking for is the chemistry wasn't there this year. I look, with Tommy, he might have, taken him a little bit higher, but I honestly don't think they would have been a top 8 team. I think there's a lot of issues going on internally at the club, and I know a lot of people say it stems from that Pride jersey, but I think it's been going on a little bit longer than that, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it definitely has been going a lot longer than that Pride jersey. I want to say debacle.
I think
not in an offensive way to the LGBT community, but it was just a shit show. The way it happened, the way the whole situation unfolded. That's why I'm using the word debacle.
Yeah,
it is because of the shit show that happened.
Yeah, they didn't discuss it with the stakeholders, like everyone involved, and that was the problem. And and it just became what it was. But and really, they were in the potential of making the top 8.
Yeah, it
really derailed their season.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not going to go political about this. I'm not going to go into depth about it. But what I will say is, it wasn't handled properly, and that's what happened. And Manly were playing pretty parts of the season. They were playing pretty good, and then I thought the game after that, the game of that Pride jersey, that team actually played. They lost, but I think they played pretty well. But then when the players come back, they just haven't been able to
gel,
and And Tommy Turbo just adds to, I think there'll be a lot more. They could have made the 8, but it would have been like 8th or 9th, not like top 4 or something.
Yeah. No, I get that. Well, Kieran Foran's moving on. I think he's going to the Titans next year.
Yep.
So, they're losing him. That was potentially his last. I think that was his last game. Yeah, it is his last game. That was his last game in their colours. It's different, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Some teams, I want to say the teams that we have here, apart from, let's say, the Panthers, all have the potential to make the 8. From the beginning of the season, number 1, we sort of figured from last year, and 2020, the Panthers were always going to be that number 1 or the top 4 spot. You could pretty much cement them into the top 8 in the last 2 years.
Yep.
But when it comes down to the other 7 spots in that top 8, it's literally anyone's. You know, everyone on their day has the potential to beat the other team.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
you know, last night's game. Granted, I fell asleep quite early again. I was falling asleep during the second half. So I didn't see probably from the 50th minute onwards.
I watched parts of it, and just Roosters were just on the gas early. Tedesco, yeah.
Actually, one thing I was telling the other half last night was I was in regards to Tedesco, right?
Yeah.
A lot of players were saying when he runs, he's the most balanced and the most silkiest that they've ever seen in a fullback. And I don't know whether it's because I hate the Roosters or I hate the Blues, but when it comes to Tedesco's running ability, I think it's absolutely dog shit. I really do. Like, whenever you see Tedesco get the ball, he takes probably half a dozen to a dozen good steps and then slips over. Every time he gets the fucking ball, he slips over.
Yeah, he slips over a lot. Why is
All
that?
the fucking time. And that's why he gets, I think it was last year he was getting head knocks all the fucking time because he takes a few steps, he tries to step, and it's like he zigs when he should have zagged, and his fucking feet go out from underneath him, and then someone, comes in when they're trying to tackle his head, he falls over, they're trying to tackle his hips. So, when he falls over, his head's in that position, they clicked him on the head. They get 10 in the bin and he gets a HIA, like, how the fuck are you supposed to tackle someone that always trips over? I see Brian To'o do it a fair bit when he's running the ball back. He doesn't necessarily slip over, but he sort of ducks in under the tackle. So, like, someone will come out and try and grab him, but he ducks in under their arm. And it's like, yeah, fair enough, that tactic works, but fuck, it looks ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just my 2 cents. But
He does slip. When I watch the game, he does slip over a lot when he's running for the ball.
Even when he done that try in the 20th minute, he ran for 10 metres, I think maybe 10 or 20 metres, and then when he went to turn in to put the ball down closer to in between the goalposts, he slips over. I was talking to the other half, and I'm like, see, that's what the fuck I'm talking about.
I think he's a very skillful player. He's very good, but he's not the fastest fullback anymore. Yeah.
I've got
He's gained a lot of muscle. He's gained a lot of muscle, which is probably really good for his defence and all that. Over the years. You were going to say, mate? Yeah.
Oh, look, I think, and it hurts me to say it because he's a freaking Rooster, but I think James Tedesco is probably the second best fullback of all time.
All time.
Yeah, all time. I'd happily say that. I think he's surpassed Minicello. He's a lot smarter than most fullbacks, other than probably Billy Slater. I think he's up there with, at the very minimum, third best of all time.
I do not disagree with that. Statistically speaking, he's very good. He makes a lot of meters coming out of his own end, and that he hardly ever drops the ball. I'm pretty sure he's the Kangaroos fullback as well as the Blues fullback. How many times has he split Queensland apart?
Yeah.
As for I guess eyes up footy, I'd probably go Slater in front of him.
Oh, easily.
As a off the cuff, Billy Slater, Cameron Munster to a degree just plays that real eyes up footy.
Yeah.
I don't think Teddy has that ability, but nonetheless, yes, he's a fucking goat.
He's very.
I would like to see Joey Manu at fullback. Switch him from the wing to the fullback, not to replace Teddy or anything, but in another club, Joey Manu would decimate if he was fullback. 100%. Like, I think Teddy was out and the Roosters played the Warriors, I think, and he ran for the most meters ever in a game, or second most meters ever in a game. It was like 400 meters or something. It was 398 meters. It was something fucking incredible. That was him at fullback. Like,
It was
even last night, Joey Manu marking up on Latrell Mitchell. Like, yeah, there is a vendetta between them two. Like, yeah, it's like two heavyweights going blow for blow with them two. It really is. So I would have loved to see Joey Manu at fullback versus Latrell at fullback. You know, we know how big and strong Latrell is. Like, when Latrell's on, he's fucking on. So to see them two, and just, you know, I think it was the first or the second set in the game. Trell done a kick return and he's bumping off JWH and whoever else. And Joey Manu just goes, right, you're mine. Bang. You know, hits him and sticks. And then two or three other Roosters players come and put him in touch. You know, so that was great. I really, you know, like that about him. JWH is still a grub. I cannot stand him. So is Nelson Solomona. Cannot stand him either. Like, he done it.
He's a big boy. Oh, he's still like me. I'm 6'6". He's like 6'7", 6'8", and he's like, I don't know how much he weighs, but probably like 130 of
kilos.
Massive.
Yeah, but like, I think it was Naz has had the most in infringements or something in his year or season. I can't remember what statistic it is, but for stuff he should have been suspended for, he's only gotten a fine for, where everyone else that has had something similar, like a head high or a lazy arm or something, like something around the head, they've all got suspended for it, yet he's the only one to get fines for, which does my absolute fucking head in.
So where's the consistency?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Between him, JWH, you know, me and Aden sort of had this ongoing argument a little while back about who's the grubbiest player in the league. And for me, it's a tie between JWH and Nelson Asofa Solomon.
Yeah, wow. There's a couple of Manly players that maybe backs or something like they've done some pretty
stupid stuff. Yeah,
some stupid stuff, but yeah, probably consistently over time. Yeah, can't go past JWH.
He was a weak-gutted dog as a kid, and he's a weak-gutted dog now.
Oh, wonder if Ricky will come on as a special guest one day.
But right, we're done the Roosters. Fuck the Roosters. We'll get to the Bunnies.
Yeah.
The good points for the Bunnies, you know, I'll let Aden take the reins in a bit, but, you know, Trell Mid, fantastic with ball in the hand. Please don't let him do short dropouts anymore. But, you know, Trell Mid, great ball in the hand. You can see he's really starting to find some form. He's done really well. Apart from that, didn't he have a send-off in the 70th minute?
Yeah, that was stupid. You touch on your points and then I'll talk about...
Lachlan Ilias was another standout for me. You know, he took quite a few big hits. So, you know, good on him. It's only his, second or third year in that position. Cam Murray, fucking poor cunt. You know, the same thing happened in Game 3 of State of Origin. He went in and he just got an unfortunate fucking hip or elbow or something to the head, and, you know, he was out seeing lights. You know, he was out seeing that bird named Ronnie. Jai Arrow and Keon, they were sort of standouts for me as well. Like, Keon was everywhere, and Jai Arrow just took the real dirty sort of, you know, take it up through the middle, the real hard sort of meters. You know, how many meters he made? All run meters. What did he make? 104 meters off 11 runs. So, you know, making 10 meters a run. But, you know, played for 80 minutes. And, you know, only to make 104 meters, yeah, it's not a lot. But for a big bopper through the middle, I can understand that.
Yeah.
So, Cody Nicarima did played for a few minutes. Sevilla Havili, I don't think he's suited to that 9 position at all. That Peter, I'm going to butcher this, Mamazelos,
Pretty close.
when he come on for, I think, Cameron Murray, he slotted into the 9 position, and Havili sort of went into that sort of roaming lock position.
Almost injured, eh? He normally plays hooker.
Damien Cook, I don't know what happened with him.
They didn't bring him back from COVID. They rested him.
Fair enough. Look, in my opinion, yeah, I think the Rabbitohs lost this game. Roosters are position 6. Rabbitohs are position 7. It looks like that's going to be locked in for that finals. Look, the positive Rabbitohs can take out of it is they can learn from their mistakes, and they can make it right next week. That's what I see it as.
Yeah, well, that's right.
They're playing the same team. Yeah.
Yeah, you never really make a mistake in a sense, do you? You make an opportunity to learn from something.
Yeah.
That's how I see it, and that's what I think the Rabbitohs have done is
Thank you.
they haven't essentially made a mistake because it hasn't, cost them the season or anything like that, but they've made an opportunity for themselves to grow and get better.
It's a dress rehearsal.
Exactly. Wait until Damien Cook comes back. He's going to add some more punch through the middle. Hopefully Cameron Murray gets cleared, so he'll have, some more impact. It's like today, I'll bring it up again. I was talking to my barber about it. And, Brisbane are really, they've lost the Paddy Carrigan aggressiveness through that middle where he makes fucking 40, 50 tackles a game with one miss or whatever. The same with the Cowboys with Ruben Cotter. They lost 22-0, I think, to the Panthers. He made 63 tackles with like one miss or 0 misses. Like, he gets through a mountain of fucking work. And that's where they needed Cameron Murray last night. Aden?
All right, so I disagree with a lot of the stuff you said in regards to the Rabbitohs, I'm not going to lie. Well, I do agree about Cameron Murray, 100%. Latrell Mitchell, look, I'll be, the first to get on his back and say he's an amazing player. I absolutely love Latrell. Love how much he's matured. He was off last night. It was probably one of the worst performances of the year. And I know a lot of Souths fans are going at him saying that, we should drop him in place of Blake Taff. I highly disagree with that. If it's not for Latrell Mitchell, we do not make the top 8. Secondly, the short dropouts, they didn't work last night. It was disappointing, and arguably that led to 12 points. But 9 times out of 10, Latrell gets those kicks right. Or 9 games out of 10, Latrell gets those kicks right. He got it right about 2 or 3 times against the Cowboys, getting us the ball back, I should say, sorry. With that game against Parramatta, I think it was he got 2 from 2 correct in that one. We absolutely rolled the Eels in that. Like, Latrell gets these short dropouts right more than he does wrong. Last night was pretty bad, I won't lie. It was, I just think those short dropouts really dented his confidence. The Roosters just battered and bashed him. But at the same time, all these bloody so-called supporters are coming out saying Latrell, it was horrible last night. He made 10 tackle breaks. The next best player for tackle breaks was a tie between James Tedesco with 5, Joseph Manu with 5, and Egan Butcher with 5. So, to say that he was, he didn't have the best game, but he still went out there and he tried his heart out for the club. So I've got nothing but good things to say about him. I think he's going to put that game behind him, and he's going to have a better game next week. In terms of people coming at him about his tackling, he made 6 tackles, he missed 1. Yes, the 1 tackle led to the Egan Butcher try, But guess what? Just before that missed tackle, Keon Koloamatangi and Lachlan Ilias both missed Egan Butcher, which they both went for him, threw their arms at him, couldn't tackle him. He busted through those two players and just, ran over Latrell. When you've got a barnstorming second rower coming at your fullback, I don't think many fullbacks in the NRL would have stopped that. So that's.
I agree with you there.
But why would you want to drop Latrell Mitchell? Okay, what? He didn't play his best game. Okay, we all know what he could. Is that a lot of supporters, or is that just like a few ones who?
There's a decent amount saying that he shouldn't be there and he should have been taken off. Another thing, so I thought Cody Walker was phenomenal last night. I thought, he's finally getting that confidence. He's back to his best now. I thought Jackson Barlow came back and played really well in the centres. A lot of Souths fans don't like him in the centres. But when you look at his stats, he had 18 carries, 150 metres. He had 65 post-contact metres, made 14 tackles. He did miss 3, but it was rough down that side. Like he played really well, and I'm really proud of him. I don't even think he made one error. My apologies. He made one error, but other than that, I thought he was solid for us. One thing I am disappointed about is the way we lined up the team. So I don't see why we had Peter Mamazelas and Cody Nikorima on the bench. I reckon to go with the Roosters, we should have had another front rower because Mark Nichols, Homer Selly, Cody Nikorima and Peter are just... It was just too small. Our bench was too small to match the physicality of the Roosters. Cameron Murray, arguably the biggest loss of the game. We keep Cameron Murray in. I am 90% sure we win that game.
That's a big call, but I don't necessarily disagree. Yeah, I'm on the fence about that. Going back to the Latrell Mitchell tackle on, I think it was Egan Butcher.
Correct, yeah, Egan Butcher.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been put in that position to make that tackle. If you know what I mean? Like if Lachlan Ilias and Keon actually, I guess, manned up to take that 2-on-1 tackle, then that would have been a whole different scenario.
Yeah.
But when you've got someone coming at you, it doesn't matter whether you're fucking Latrell Mitchell or whoever, that would have been fucking hard to stop. But look, you just imagine that as a Keon or a Jai Arrow running at you. A lot of fullbacks wouldn't have been able to stop them that close to the line.
That's what I'm saying too. But you watch Latrell, he throws his whole body at Egan. And if he's 10 metres out, he stops him. That's a tackle.
Yeah, no, that's right.
So I just want to talk about Jackson Paulo. I remember I was talking to one guy, might have been a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Look, he dropped probably about 5 or 6 kicks. How's he going now? I watched a bit of the game, but how's he going now, Aden? Because I thought in that game, Dimitri, I would have done what I would have done. I would have just put him off for, you know what I mean, 20, 30 minutes. I don't care who goes in that position now. He just needed a break because, it's just, hard to watch because, he was just having a bad game. I think he's a good. I think he must be a good player, but he's just having a bad game. How's he going now?
Well, look, to be fair, he wouldn't be in the team if Campbell Graham wasn't injured. That's another one. Campbell Graham, arguably one of the best defensive centres in the NRL. If Campbell Graham's there, Jackson Barlow wouldn't be playing. But Jackson was very good last night. He was obviously dropped after that game against Penrith. So he didn't back it up and play for play against the Cowboys. He was dropped. I personally think the coach dropped him mainly because of the death threats and harsh messages he was copying from not only Rabbitoh supporters but punters as well, people that had money on him to score tries. So
Jai Arrow backed him up. I thought that was. I like that comment. He made a comment to say, "Look, I don't care about your multi-bet I think someone like that said, and I thought that was really good. Like they're just backing him up. Like people make mistakes. He had a bad game. You know what I mean.
Yeah, no,
You know what I mean?
definitely. But ironically, I mean, nothing's been confirmed yet, but it looks like Jackson Barlow signed with the Roosters, so that's going to be interesting next year when he puts on a Roosters jersey.
Well, I think the commentators actually said that last night. Between that game, there's been no, they didn't say that many, but there's been a couple of changes between the Roosters and the Rabbitohs.
Yeah, big Daniel Saluka Fafita, who I thought should have played last night. He would have been good on the bench, a big body forward. He was a Souths junior that the Roosters poached, and the Rabbitohs got him back. So I'm really happy about that one.
Yeah, well, you look at Suali'i, that's it. Thank you. He was a Rabbitohs, went to Roosters. Angus
Crichton,
Latrell Mitchell. They've sort of switched between the clubs, and it's sort of been a blessing for both club and player that they have swapped, because they've found a whole different life, I guess, between the two.
Yeah.
So, that's, main, I guess, talking points for both of them. Yeah, that's it. What's the next game? What's the first game today, which is actually on very shortly? Warriors and Clock. Now, I don't know if it's confirmed, but Vodafone, who are the Warriors' main sponsor, actually bought out all the tickets at Mount Smart Stadium and have given them away to fans. So you go on Ticket Tech or whatever to secure your tickets, and you don't pay anything for it.
Yeah,
because
that has been confirmed, 100% confirmed.
Now, to me, Warriors are massive on culture. The Māoris are very, very big on culture and family, all that sort of stuff. Now, that to me is so heartwarming to hear that their major sponsor bought out all the tickets to give the fans their last game for nothing. Now, I just hope that Mount Smart Stadium is absolutely packed. Like, there's not an empty seat in the house. And I'm sorry, Titans fans, and I'm sorry, Clarkey, but I hope the Warriors put 50 points on the Titans because of that. It's their last game. They're at home,
They've had it tough, They've been living out of
Redcliffe.
Yeah, Redcliffe,
Yeah, for 2 years.
Big loss for the Warriors, though. Sean Johnson has been ruled out, and Deshaun Arce is in as halfback.
Yeah, that is a big loss.
So this will be Reece Walsh's last game for the Warriors.
Yeah. I hope he does well, Arce. Now, who else? Ed Wikosi comes in as winger. Is that Sammy Valavey?
Viliami Valavey, but Viliami Valavey. Valia, sorry, not Valavey. Valavey's Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders. Sorry. So, just looking at them, both teams, like, they've got a good, what's the word I'm looking for? Got a good team list on paper. They just haven't been able to, I guess, gel. Biggest, I guess, for me, the biggest talking point of the Titans is they have such a very young squad. Like, their captain and their prop is only like 21 years of age. He was a marquee signing, come from the Storm, but he's still very young. That's where I think Kieran Foran brings a bit of footy experience and a bit of, he's not I wouldn't say the best number 6 or number 7 in the game.
Yeah, it's not like he's a Reynolds coming into the Broncos or Titans or anything, but I think he'll add definite experience and points which they need, because they've been sort of directionless and playing very low IQ. You know what I mean?
They've got good, very heads up football. But they need to, I guess, they need that organizer to give them direction. You know, a lot of their sets, you look at it and you go, why the fuck do you keep running it side to side? It's not working. Give it to a big man to run it up forward and take a settling tackle to get your line sorted.
Yeah.
And that's not what they're doing.
Yeah, that's right, because their planning of their game, other teams have already gone through all that years ago. You know what I mean? And they're not, and with the Titans, like they're lacking that department probably the most in the whole NRL. But, you know, I thought they were a team of great potential. I think they've got a good, decent, I thought he's okay coach, good coach, but yeah.
Yeah, well, you can only do with so much with the roster you have, you know. So I don't always put blame on the coach.
No,
but
me too. Yeah, he's good. He's a good coach. He's a good coach.
It's good to see Corey Thompson coming back from the wing. I don't think when I've watched Titans play in probably the last 6 weeks, I don't think I've seen Corey Thompson play. Which I think is, unless he's been injured, which is, you know, I don't know the full extent, but, you know, unless he's been injured. But if they just haven't picked him, I think it's absolutely stupid. He's in my mind, one of the best wingers to bring it out of your own half. You know, apart from, you know, Corey Oates, Xavier Coates, wingers like that, he's one of the best that brings it out of his own half. You know, he gets through a mountain of work early. Aden?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm just looking at the team list now. I probably would say that Titans might have a better squad on paper. And I'll tell you why in a second. I'm just doing So if we look at the back line, like Warriors, Reece Walsh, DWZ, Jesse Arthurs, Viliami, Vailea, Edward Kosey, Chanel Harris Tavita, and Dejan Arce up against Jaden Campbell, Greg Marzu, Jojo Fafita, Philip Sami, Corey Thompson, Alexander Brimson, and Tanner Boyd. That Titans team, that backline looks better in my opinion.
It does. Probably a bit controversial. I'd probably put Toby Sexton in for Tanner Boyd. I don't know if Toby Sexton's injured or whatnot.
Yeah,
but I like Toby Sexton in over Tanner Boyd.
Yeah.
I know, also controversial to say, but I like AJ Brimson at fullback rather than half as well.
I agree with that.
You know,
But where do you put Jaden?
Yeah, that's right.
Because with Jaden's, but trying to fit him in there.
Well, you know, you think of, I think it was last year or the year before with the Queensland squad. We had Philip Sami, Corey Thompson was in, I think, 18th man who was in the camp, AJ Brimson, Mo Fodawaker, Tino, and David Fafita were all in that Queensland camp. You know, that's a lot of players from the Titans. So there is a fair bit of footy experience there. They've all played together. In my mind, they should, you know, they've played together for 2 years now. They should know each other inside and out. You know, you don't need to essentially call for the ball if you're looking for a tackle break or an offload because you know someone's always going to be there.
Yeah.
When you put that on paper, that's all well and good. When it comes to actually playing the game, I don't see them gelling like that. I really don't.
Yeah, no, I agree. But
I do think the way the Warriors will go is through the middle. When you've got Aden Fanua-Blake, Tohu Harris, Ewan Aiken, Josh Curran, and Bunty Afoa, they are some big boys. And, you know, I know Tino, David, Bo Firma, and Isaac Liu come from the Roosters, Isaac Liu.
He did, yeah. Premiership winner at the Roosters, yep.
Roosters, yeah. You know, I'd love to see that match up. The game, you know, I'm excited for this game. But, I do see the Warriors having a better front row than the Titans.
They're probably fired up for this game too with the crowd,
Yeah,
the tickets and all that last game.
and playing at home. Their first game at home, I couldn't fault really any one of them Warriors players. Their first game at home, they played with some passion. It was so heartwarming to see. So I'm going to go Warriors 13 plus, 100%.
I've tipped the Warriors 13 plus as well. I don't see a world where the Titans win this. I reckon the Warriors could put on a reserve grade side. They probably wouldn't win 13 plus, but I reckon they'd probably win 1 to 12. I just think the emotion, the passion, the crowd is just going to get them home with an easy win in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen that before with the Indigenous All-Stars versus the Māori All-Stars.
Yeah.
We've seen them, how they played with passion, and holy shit, that was, well, I think we briefly spoke about that earlier on in the year on the podcast. Both of me and Aden, from the time the kickoff to the last hooter sounded, we goosebumps all game.
Yeah.
So who are you tipping, Trent?
Oh,
What are your thoughts?
I'd like to say Titans, but I think the Warriors will win this. Like everything you just said about, I just think we're playing. Both have had great seasons, but they're playing better with the crowd and everything like that. I just think, look, Titans are probably a little bit better on paper, but Warriors are just, as a team, they'll beat them because of the crowd and the motion, passion, and all that. Yeah.
And I think over in New Zealand, I think at the moment, because there's no daylight savings there, it'll be 5 o'clock over there when they play. So it'll be something that the Titans got to get used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a lot colder. I think the Warriors are used to that already. Yeah. So, be a good game. Be a good game. Yeah. Then the game of the round for some people. Net Strato Jubilee Stadium in Kogarah, Dragons' home ground. But fuck, Broncos have got. Okay, I do like. They've started Tamari Martin at number 1, which I do like this year since he's come back. I always thought we'd never see Tamari Martin again.
Me too.
With that brain bleed or whatever. But when he come back, it's like he never left. He was so electric when he come back. I just went, holy shit. Where was this form when he was at the Cowboys?
Well, he would be still, if he didn't have all this, he'd be probably still at the Cowboys.
Yeah, well, that's right. But, he come back re-energized. He looked like a completely different person.
Which is great, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
48.
What are your matchups, Aden, that you're looking forward to for this game?
My matchups, one player. Okay, it's speaking a bit unlucky with injuries. Tautau Moga. Oh, I'm so glad to see him in some good form, man. Because Wayne Bennett brought him across to Souths last year, and he had a few chances, but again, injuries plagued the season for him. He just has had no luck with injuries, so I'm just glad he's playing some good footy. But if we're talking about matchups, I think the best matchup for the game is probably Ben Hunt against Adam Reynolds, to be honest.
Yeah, well, isn't Renault coming off an injury too?
Reynolds had a concussion. He got knocked out in the first 2 minutes of last week.
That's right.
Where's the big Fijian for the Dragons?
Oh, Ravalawa. I think he's injured. He'd have to be because
I like him.
They wouldn't be playing Tyrell Sloan over Ravalawa on the wing, so...
Yeah.
He's an icon, that fella. I can't pronounce his name, but I just think he's great,
Yeah, he's like the... who's the Eels winger, the Fijian, the flying Fijian?
Micah Sivo.
Yeah, and then before Sivo, it was... what do they call him? Randra?
Randra,
yeah. Randra.
I do like Fijian players, but yes. But anyway, look, what do you think of this game, Mike?
It's a bit rough to have Jordan Ricky and Kobe Hetherington out. I like both of them. I think they do a job as well. For Paddy Carrigan to be back, that'll be a good matchup. Paddy Carrigan and Jack Bird. I really like that. Between the Moose, Josh Maguire and Kurt Catewell, I'd personally pick Kurt Catewell out of the two, and I'd pick Paddy Carrigan over Jack Bird. I think Paddy Carrigan goes through a mountain of work, but Jack Bird's got a little bit more X factor about him. I think he's found his spot. You know, he went from 5'8" to fullback to wing, centre, I think it was. Now he's in at lock, so I think they've found his spot there.
Jack Bell's there.
Having Jake Turpin start and then Billy Walters come off the bench, I would assume for that hooking role. I like that. I don't know why they've put Jordan Pereira in as reserves, because I do actually like him.
He's made a few pretty bad errors in the last few weeks, so I'd say he's probably... Well, Selwyn Cobbo returns as well, so that's probably one reason why. But I do like Delwees Hoyter, who is also a German international, can represent the German team, so let's go. Yeah.
Oh, tell your grandmother she might like that one.
Yeah, I reckon.
I reckon. Look, you both probably don't disagree with this, but I reckon Dragons will win by 20. That's a bit controversial. It probably won't happen, but look, the way the Broncos have been playing is, But Reynolds is back, so.
Jordan, what do you reckon?
My head's going to say the Dragons, and I know Tori's dad, he'll never hear this, but he's going to hate me, but my heart's saying the Broncos. You know, I guess always had a bit of a soft spot for the Broncos. You know, I've got a little Broncos jersey that my parents bought me when I was little. Yeah, a little baby Bronco thing on it. And I was a Bronco for a few years up until I started watching footy, like, religiously again. And, you know, it's sort of... My heart went out to them when they lost a whole heap of games and, got the spoon, all that sort of stuff. It sort of hurt. But, at the end of the day, they're a Queensland team, so, always want to back the Queensland teams more than anyone else. Whether it's, the Titans, the Dolphins, the Broncos, or the Cowboys. And just to give my Raiders, a bit of a touch-up, I guess. I hope the Broncos, say put 40 points on the Dragons, so the Raiders actually need to work and play their asses out to earn the 8th spot. Because, yes, we've won games, but I don't believe that we've earned that spot to a degree. We haven't played... Yes, I don't think the Raiders have played astronomical this season to earn that spot. They're only just scraping through by a bit of luck. So I sort of... I want the Broncos to win by a good margin just to give the Raiders a bit of a shake-up.
So, like we said before, basically the Broncos will have to win by 50 to make it.
Yeah, I don't see them putting 50 points on, but who knows?
Yeah, wow. And
so, just looking at the next game after that, tonight's game, the Cowboys...
Hang on. I haven't given you my tip yet. Come on, bloody hell.
Yeah. I'm just talking, I'm thinking out loud here. So I was just going to make a, what's the word? Not an assumption, but yeah, you give me your tips and I'll stop thinking out loud.
Righto, so to Trent's surprise, I'm going with Trent. I think Raiders, Dragons win this 13+. I think the Broncos have... There's a lot going on. It's a bit like Manly. There's a lot going on internally. I think some of the players disagree with Kevy and what he's doing. I'm wondering, and look, do not take this as gospel. This is just me having an assumption, I'm wondering if Jordan Ricky and Kobe Hetherington are two of the players that had a disagreement with Kevy because they're out now injured, quote unquote injured. So again, just my assumption. I could be completely wrong, but I don't know. I reckon there's something going on there at the Broncos, and I don't think they win this game. I think Dragons towel them up in this one. I reckon.
Yeah, they're shot, eh? I just think they're just look. Reynolds playing is always going to add to the team, make them better. But I just think, they've lost their gas. They've just lost their whatever it is that made them. They've had a pretty good season considering, and I think, look, I'm not there in the Broncos HQ at Red Hill, but I think Walters has done a bloody good job considering, especially what he came into with Seabold. Look, I always believe what they did to Wayne Bennett was totally wrong, and that's a whole nother story. I'll go into that another time. But, you know what I mean? What Walters has come to and what he has done, he's Broncos through and through. Okay, he might have some old school opinions, but, he's done bloody well. He's done what, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I understand what you mean. I get it. It's like anyone, you face adversity, you're going to sink or swim. And this year he's swum, and it's not just him though; it's his players. He's picked his players accordingly.
For the half combinations, George, and this change and he's had to adapt,
Yeah. Well, that's right. But I think my point mainly is that, if he didn't bring Adam Reynolds in, and it was a coach's decision to bring in Adam Reynolds and sign him on a 3-year deal like he wanted, they could have easily fallen in the spoon again. So, that's what I'm going to say on that. Is yes, the players go out there and play every week, and I commend them for that. But it's also the coach's decision to bring in what players and which players play better with who.
Yeah.
So, but what I was going to say for the next game, tonight's game, Cowboys versus Penrith. Now, if Penrith dust up the Cowboys, then I literally have no words, because they have pretty much put their second grade side into face a nearly full strength Cowboys squad. Like, Appy's out, Brian Toto, Dylan Edwards, Isaiah Yeo, Isaac Tungo, James Fisher, Harris Jerome Luai, Moses Leota, Spencer Linyu, Stephen Crichton, Taylor May, the weak gutted dog, and Viliami Kickout. They're all out. Like,
and
that is their fucking team.
On top of those players that are out, you've also got Liam Martin named in the extended... Oh, no, he's been dropped now, has he? He was named in the extended squad, so he's now been dropped. So that's another one that's out.
Two extreme opposites. Hey, look at that. Look, two totally different tactics.
Why the fuck have we got Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow in for Tom Dearden? Defensively speaking, Tom Dearden's
got ruptured testicles. It must.
That's right. That's right.
So painful.
That's right. I forgot about that. But I thought, defensively speaking, Tom Dearden runs rings around Hammer defensively.
I don't think Hammer would stay at 5'8", even if Tommy's can't return yet. I'd reckon they'd move Drinkwater into 5'8" for the defence, and then when they go on the offence, I think Hammer will move back to 5'8" and Drinky at fullback.
Yeah, so they can switch it up a bit,
Yeah, well, I guess that's the good about having two fullbacks, quote unquote. Cohen Hess out is a big bit of a loss. Ruben Cotter's back in. I think he played last week, but yeah, Ruben Cotter's in, so that's good. Luciano Leilua, I think he's found another gear. He's still not in top gear for me. Out of a 6-speed gearbox, he's probably hitting maybe 4th gear I still think he needs to push to get that extra couple of gears out. But yeah, I think, he's not fully there yet, but he's getting there. But yeah, I think if I was the Cowboys, I'd want to rip and tear into this Penrith side and put as many points on them as I can, because if I was the Cowboys, I would feel so disrespected. We're a top 3 team and we're a solid fucking team, and you send your reserve grade in to face us.
Yeah, it's pretty
Fuck
poor.
you.
Yeah.
Let's go out swinging and tearing.
Pretty bloody poor, isn't it, to do that? Cowboys can't do what Panthers done and do that, because Cowboys have had a fantastic season, but right now they're not at full gear as it like they were like earlier in the season. So that's what they're trying to get to for the finals. They're trying to get that. They've been playing okay. They've been playing good and okay. They had that Rabbitohs loss. They had that. They've been playing okay against like Dragons, I think they smashed the Warriors, but I mean, they're trying to get into that gear of consistency, and they can't do what Panthers have done, like just take all the players out, because we need game in, game out. That's what Cowboys need.
Yeah, if they can find some consistency coming into the finals, then I think they're a good shot of going all the way.
Yeah.
It's consistency and confidence goes a long way. Aden?
I tell you what, if the Cowboys lose this game, Trent, that's season over, mate. I tell you, Cowboys should win this game by 60 points. Oh no! You think I'm joking? I'm dead set.
I just find it like when something is so crazy or I just can't help to laugh. It's like they're just taking the whole team out. There should be 40 plus at least. They should win 60-0, 66 or something.
Oh, 100%, 100%. It's you're taking the piss, mate.
Yeah, it's a bit of that's offensive. Like, Panthers can go and get stuffed.
But at the end of the day, you've got to look at it from the Panthers' perspective. Like, you rest those players, they get a whole week off. They're going to be fit and firing, ready for next week. I can see both sides. I understand why the Cowboys and the Cowboy supporters are pissed. It's like, you don't respect us. But if the Panthers hadn't solidified the minor premiership, I don't reckon they rest players here. Definitely not.
I agree with that.
Well, okay, rest a couple of players, but this is just, anyway, whatever. But
Viliami Kikau, James Fisher-Harris, Dylan Edwards, Isaiah Yeo. I'd probably rest them. Appy, I'd probably rest them. Isaiah Yeo is, in my eyes, the best prop in the game. Prop lock. He's the best lock in the game. So for him to have that week off and then to come out next week ripping and tearing, I do agree with that. I actually thought, what's his name? Nathan Cleary was back this week.
No, next week.
Next week. Righto. I thought for an instance there he was back this week. So if he was back this week, I would have played him to get a bit of game time under his belt. He's had
definitely
4 or 5 weeks out, but no, he comes back next week. So that's fine. And they're facing they'll be facing the Eels. So they do need, I guess, the best squad that they can put out.
If I was the Panthers coach, I'd do the same thing that they would, except I wouldn't be resting Jerome Luai. Jerome Luai's just come back from an injury. He played last week. He was good, but I'd keep him in this week to get that match fitness up.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a bit of a controversial opinion, but I believe in this. Valentine Holmes is, in my opinion, the best player in the game, or potentially top 3 player in the game right now. I just think He's such a professional. His goal kicking is absolutely outstanding. Even though he sprayed that one against the Rabbit all year, you know what I mean. He's running. He's playing. He's just doing everything. I just think he's the best player, in my opinion. But I know Aden will probably disagree. I know he respects him a lot. But what do you think, Jordan? Or...
Well, he scored 7 tries this season, so pretty, I guess, below average in that. He's kicked 88 goals, which is fucking good. What do we got? His conversion rate's sitting at 83%, so that's a good conversion rate. He's probably in the top 5 in the league for conversion rates. 2 try assists, 7 line break assists, so it's pretty low. He's 76.4% tackle efficiency, so that's not bad. He's made 146 tackles as a centre. Running meters, he's got 144.8 average running meters, so that's, I guess if that was a game, that's pretty up there. But yeah, he's not, I guess, doing too bad. Statistically wise, he's good, but he's not great or a GOAT. If you were to go, S tier, A tier, B, whatever, he'd be an A tier for sure, but he's not an S tier.
Oh, okay, you can go the numbers and all that, but I just watch what I feel.
Yeah.
And I watch and and I just see he's just like this Cowboys team is a totally balanced team. If he come out, we'd be still okay. Obviously, we need him, but that's how the Cowboys are rolling this season. Is we're not. And he's just complemented our team so freaking well.
Yeah, he's come back in this season. So he only played a handful of games last year, I think, with the Cowboys. Yeah. He's come back in this season. He's done really well. So I'll give that to him.
So,
I'm going to go Cowboys 13 plus, Aden.
Oh, yeah, easily. On the topic of Val Holmes, look, Trent, I highly disagree with that call.
That's why I brought it up. That's why I brought it up as a bit of,
I think he's probably top 2 centre in the league. I think Joey Martin is easily above him. But I think if you want to know my opinion on the best player in the game at the moment, I've got to say Nicho Hines.
Yeah.
That's a fair call.
I mean, we could sit there and go through a list of players, and looking at the time, we don't really have too much time on our hands to do that.
But Holmes will be there when it counts, in my opinion.
Oh, definitely. He's sort of, to me, if I can relate it to myself, he's a bit like Josh Papali'i. He's just always there. When you need someone to break the line open or, to score that winning try or whatever, Val Holmes is the man. So for your team,
I love
your team.
Yeah, I love them all. But anyway, I'm all excited about it. It's just great, isn't it? But we're not at the gear we need to be, so we need to get that gear. So
yeah, Yep. Next game. I don't want to sound like.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like Adrian. He's going to love that. I don't want to sound like Adrian, but...
Hey Adrian. Talking about Adrian, Newcastle
Knights. There we go. Love you, Adrian, as much as I fling shit on you, mate. Sharkies easily are going to fucking... They will put the Knights to the spoon. McDonald Jones... it's gonna be a packed out game. It's the last game for the Knights for the year. They have a very loyal fan base, so it's going to be very packed. But I'm going to say, Sharks 13 plus, 100%. Sharks are going to. It's either I can either see it going 2 ways. It'll either be very close, which I don't think will be happen, but I see it as the blowout of the round. I do think the Sharks are going to put at least 40 points on them. Sorry, Knights fans. But yeah, I see the Sharks going over the Knights very easily.
Look, Nicho Hines. And look, I must say, I used to really look, the Matt Rogers days, I used to like the Sharks. We had a bit of a rival with the Sharks back in the day. I like the 2010s, those controversial games. I used to hate the Sharks, but with Ennis and Gallen and all that.
Oh, I couldn't stand it.
Oh man, However, now I actually, with this Nico Hines and all that, it's an exciting Sharks team, and but the Newcastle Knights, they're just, well, what can you say? Loyal fan base, just a. Look at players that were playing Origin and actually up there, and it's just been a mess this season. Thoughts?
The Knights without KP, to me, are not the Knights. If you know what I mean, KP's their man, just like JT was for the Cowboys or Greg Inglis was for the Rabbitohs. KP is the man for the Knights, and if KP is not playing, the Knights don't get off the bus. In my mind,
he should have signed with the Dolphins. I'm sorry, controversial or not, I think he should have signed with the Dolphins, but he probably wasn't lifestyle, likes the beach or whatever,
Yeah, that's right. Maybe he didn't want to come back to Queensland.
True.
Aden, you got thoughts on that?
Oh, both these Sunday games are kind of nothing games, really. Like, don't get me wrong, I hope the Raiders win because I'd love them to make the 8, but these last few weeks, Sundays have been horrible.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I'm serious. They've been absolutely shocking.
Last week we had the Tigers versus the Dragons and the Titans versus the Knights. I don't think I watched a full game of either of them two last Sunday. Before that, I watched the Raiders and the Knights, but the Dragons and the Titans, I mean, who gives a fuck about that? Round 22, we had the Raiders versus the Dragons again. Yeah, sorry, the Raiders versus the Dragons in round 22. And then Titans versus the Sea Eagles. So, it's a bit of a nothing weekend again. And, before that, we had the Cowboys, Bulldogs, West Tigers versus Knights. Like, the Knights have played Sunday for the last fucking 4 weeks.
I tell you, the last game that I probably watched a full game on a Sunday was Sunday the 17th of July when the Raiders beat Storm.
That was round 18.
Yeah, that's probably the last time I watched a full Sunday. Oh, actually, the game after that because the Rabbitohs. But
exactly, I was just about to point out your fucking bias.
Hey, come on! I didn't scroll down that far.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Like, and it sort of, sucks for me because every second week I'm at work, right? And I have to watch the Raiders on a fucking Sunday. It's the last game on a Sunday, and I'm at work.
Yeah.
I can't watch it. It starts at 4:00, and that's generally like some of the time I'm the busiest at work, so I can't even take my smoko break or my lunch break at 4:00. It's too late in the day for me to do that.
Yeah.
So I sort of miss it. If it's the first game on a Sunday, yeah, I can catch the first half, but that's it. But
you don't know if West Tigers are going to play well or not,
Well, James Tarmow's last game.
Yeah, so they might win. Yeah.
So I don't.
Raiders should win. Raiders will win the close one by about 8 points, I reckon.
I'm going to say 1-12. I do like the lineup. I don't know why CNK is picked at 22nd man, but that's Sticky Ricky's decision. But apart from that, it's a pretty unchanged squad between 1 to 13. We haven't changed our squad at all from 1 to 13 for probably the last month.
I tell you what, you've got a lot of depth in your back line because that Albert Hopewadi, man, he's been fucking good for you guys this year and he can't get a gig.
Yeah.
I think when Raiders get the gas going, they're a freaking good team. They've actually got good parts to it, and it's actually sort of like, obviously the Cowboys team is different, but there's a lot of dynamics that make it work, So that make it balanced,
I'd play Chance off the bench. I'd give him a game.
Yeah, after what I saw last week in the New South Wales Cup, like, man, like, it literally brought a tear to my eye.
I
didn't
reckon.
cry, I didn't sob, but put a tear to my eye.
I
I
re-
never wanted to lose him.
No, I
Never
reckon.
did.
I reckon if Broncos win tonight, Ricky picks Chance on the bench. Sorry, if Broncos lose tonight, Ricky will pick Chance somewhere in the team.
Do you reckon Emre Gula in for Chance? Because I don't see Big Red or Corey Harawira-Naara or Tom Starling dropping their position.
No, I reckon what they'll do is they'll start Starling and they'll Wolford will miss this game.
Oh, yeah, I can see that, but I don't like it.
Either that or that I reckon that's what they'll do. Yeah, but at the end of the day, if the game I know every game means something at the end of the day, but if you guys can't drop out of the 8 or if you need to lose by say fucking 60 points, I'd just be putting Chance somewhere in there. Even if you bloody maybe look at dropping like a Tomoko and popping him into the centres for the last game. Like, yeah, I don't know. I just think he deserves the last regular season game.
Yeah. No, I do too. And like I've said to you before, I never wanted to lose him. I always found him to be over Xavier Savage. Don't get me wrong, Xavier Savage is a good player, but in my mind, Chance to me is Mr. Safe, and I've said that before.
Yeah.
He's the safe man. He's, you know what you're going to get out of him week in, week out. He's going to give it his all. He's safe under the high ball. He runs back, and he's good. I think the thing that fucked him up was actually getting injured and giving Xavier Savage a run. And Xavier Savage did have a good game, but Xavier Savage does have a lot to iron out in his game.
He's still very
to be
young.
good. Yes.
Yeah.
And I can understand why Ricky's putting him in games to get him that game time and experience. Because that's how you're going to learn. That's how Ricky gets his players to learn, by making mistakes.
Because you're probably developing your body when you're 24, 20.
He's fucking like 19.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he needs time, yeah.
Actually, I'll click on his profile. When was he born? 2002. 20 years old.
Because in the AFL, they're a lot younger, and like NRL, it takes a little bit more years to properly get into your body, all that sort of stuff, yeah.
So, anyway, I'm going to go Raiders 1-12. I think it's going to be a tight game, so I think the Tigers will want to come out and play for James Tamau.
So this is his last game for the Tigers.
Yep.
Well, it's not confirmed yet.
It's not confirmed, but I do say it is.
Yeah.
He's been very great player, very good player for the Cowboys. He played for Australia, New South Wales,
And
won a premiership for the Cowboys.
He's one of the most humble, and he's like the dad of the group. With all the young players come in, he treats them with the utmost respect, and he's just a very likable person.
And he's been loyal to the Tigers. He could have,
Yeah, he could have
left.
left. Yeah, exactly right. But no, he decided to stick around. And I do think the Tigers, especially, have a culture problem within the club, not in the playing group, I guess, but more in the management and the upper.
Those big six. Yeah, there's nothing to do with him.
Yeah. So, Aden, what do you got?
Raiders will win this 13 plus. I don't think that the Tigers, the team list isn't anywhere near the Raiders. I understand the whole emotion behind James Tamau potentially leaving, or retiring, but I think the Raiders I reckon they'll win this by 40.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
But Dewey's playing,
Yeah, he was named at 6. So.
Adam Dewey for New South Wales selection, hey?
Nice joke. That's like Aden playing in the grand final of his basketball.
Mate, it'd be, you never know, I doubt it, but you never know.
Yeah, no, good. Actually, congratulations on your team making the finals, mate. That was good to hear.
Top 5 in 3-pointers for the whole comp. I'll take that. Very happy with that.
Good stuff.
Well done.
Aden can run and shoot, but he just can't jump.
Or fucking dribble. That's about it. I can
You
shoot.
dribble shoot.
Yeah, that's right. All right, before we close off, let's talk about, let's just do our finals week 1 tips, I guess.
Righto,
now
finals
this is assuming, let's just assume the Raiders win, they make the 8, right? So we'll have Panthers versus Eels, Storm versus Raiders, Roosters versus Rabbitohs, and Sharks versus Cowboys.
So I'm just trying to load up the ladder, just waiting for it. So it's 1 verse 4, 2 verse 3.
Yep.
5 verse 8, and 6 verse 7.
Correct, yep.
Righto, so... ooh. I don't know. What you go first. You go first.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to go too in depth with it, but I think I've got the Eels beating the Panthers in the first week.
Yep.
I've got, I don't know, because the Raiders play well against Melbourne. I think the Raiders beat Storm in the first week of the finals. Cowboys and Sharks at PointsBet, I think the Sharks beat the Cowboys. And I'm tipping the Bunnies. I said to the milkman that delivers our milk at work, I said whoever lost last night will win next week. So I think the Bunnies win next week, especially if Joey Manu's out. That's going to be a huge loss for him. Obviously, we're still waiting to see how Cameron Murray goes. If Murray's out, I think you can pretty much cross us out. But you never know. I think, that's my finals week 1 results. I think Eels beat Panthers, Raiders beat Storm, Bunnies beat Roosters, and Sharkies beat Cowboys.
Yeah, righto. I'm going to go Eels over the Panthers. Same with you, Sharks over the Cowboys. Just Sharks at home, that to me is going to be too strong. 1 versus 2 versus 3. I'm going to go with my heart and go Raiders over the Storm. We've beat the Storm at home when the Storm were on a good run.
Yeah.
It was 6-8 weeks ago, so that was good. If by some miracle the Broncos get into the 8, which I don't see happening, but if it does, I'm going to go the Storm over the Broncos.
I'll kill
them. And I think last night was a bit of a wake-up call for the Bunnies, and I'm going to go Bunnies over the Roosters marginally. I think it's going to be a 1 or a 2-point game.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. All right, Panthers versus Eels. I think the Eels will win.
Yeah.
I really do think the Eels will. It'll be a very close game, and they'll win by 2 points. Sharks versus Cowboys. Look, my heart says the Cowboys. I can't go against that. I believe they can do it, but obviously the Sharks. If it's going to be at Shark Park, that Sharks should win, but I can't go against the Cowboys. I'm going to say Cowboys. Okay, Storm versus Raiders. Storm will win, unfortunately. Sorry, Gordon.
Fuck you.
Roosters versus Rabbitohs. I think Rabbitohs will learn from their mistake and they will beat the Roosters. Yeah, right. I just think, that's a golden opportunity.
Yeah, bit of a redemption story too, which the Rabbitohs love being, that underdog sort of team. But also, I'm not going to rule out the Roosters either. Like, fuck, they showed some class last night. And, Rabbitohs aren't a slouch sort of team, but like the Roosters showed some pass.
I think the Cowboys will probably Cowboys will lose to the Sharks, but they'll make it to the preliminary final. I think they'll win the next week.
Yeah.
And could make the grand final. So that's yeah. Okay.
Well, who knows? I can't predict the future. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. And Trent, you've got to go to work soon.
I better go to work now. So thank you very much, guys. And go the Cowboys.
So yeah, I think that's a golden opportunity, Aden. Wrap it up.
No worries, sounds good.
So thanks for coming on, Trent. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Great talking about the NRL. Yeah.
Love your insight, mate. We love having you on. You know that. So
yeah, thank you very much.
there's still a couple of episodes in my mind that I want to get you on. That I think once we have a couple of hours of an afternoon, all four of us, once all our schedules will line up, I think that'll be a golden opportunity. Get me, you, and Adrian. We'll all get around and have a beer and talk a bit of smack with Aden.
Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah.
Get onto some deep and meaningful subjects. So, Aden, as always, it's been a pleasure.
No worries.
To one. Thanks for hosting this one.
Oh, good.
We couldn't have done this fucking episode without you, mate. So that's great. Thanks to everyone listening. Love your content. Give us thumbs up. Give us a review, whether it's on Spotify or Apple Podcast or whatever, or on YouTube. You know where to find Aden. We'll put his links down below. Follow Aden on all his socials. Follow us on the Opinionated Aussies on Instagram. And yeah, I think that's it. Thanks, boys, again, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you later.